Chapter 23, Genie in a Mine. The following day, Max and Monica returned to the entrance of the Zelmite mine, ready to continue the expedition they had been forced to abandon. This time, everything felt different. They were no longer rushing in, underprepared, relying on courage alone to carry them through. They had trained, rested, planned, and rebuilt their equipment. Monica's sword arm was sharper, her magic steadier, and her confidence restored. Max had returned with upgraded weapons, renewed focus, and a ride pod that looked almost unrecognizable compared with its earlier form. At the mine entrance, Monica climbed into the old mine cart they had found during their escape. The metal frame creaked beneath her, but the wheels still sat firmly on the track, ready to carry her back into the depths. Beside her, Max powered up his upgraded ride pod. The machine hummed to life, its reinforced super alloy body gleaming under the mine's dim light. The new rollerblade feet shifted smoothly beneath it, giving the ride pod a level of speed and agility it had never possessed before. Instead of clomping awkwardly over the uneven ground, it now moved with a controlled glide, perfectly capable of keeping pace with the cart. Monica glanced over at him and smiled. For the first time since returning to the mines, she felt they had a real chance. Together, they descended once more into the darkness. The cart rattled along the tracks, gathering speed as it carried Monica through the familiar tunnels. Max followed close behind in the ride pod, the machine weaving smoothly over the rails and stone with surprising grace. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, but neither of them faltered. They soon passed the break room where Flotsam had made his final stand. For a brief moment, Monica's gaze shifted towards the scorched marks still staining the stone. The memory of the battle stirred inside her. Max collapsing, Flotsam's drill launching towards him, her own desperate leap to knock him out of death's path. But this time, the room did not stop them. Max guided the ride pod towards the giant metal door at the far end. With a steady hand, he maneuvered the machine's reinforced arms into place and forced the mechanism open. Metal groaned under the pressure, resisting at first, then slowly giving way. The door shuddered, then it opened. Beyond it lay the deeper levels of the mine, the path to the Zelmite. Max turned towards Monica, his expression calm but filled with determination. "This is our moment," Max stated, with a resolute and fearless gaze. "Are you prepared, Monica?" Monica tightened her grip on her weapon, her eyes fixed on the darkness ahead. "I have been ready," Monica retorted, her expression emanating determination and readiness for the challenges ahead. "Let's secure that Zelmite and forge a brighter tomorrow." With that, they moved forward. The deeper tunnels were harsher than anything they had faced before. The walls narrowed in places, forcing them to advance carefully. The air trembled with the distant groans of unstable rock. Strange mineral veins glowed faintly within the stone, casting eerie patterns across the passageways. Then the monsters came. Creatures that had once seemed dangerous now threw themselves at Max and Monica with the same vicious aggression as before. But this time, the two were ready. Monica moved with renewed precision. Her sword flashed in sharp arcs, cutting through enemies before they could surround her. She blended blade and magic together effortlessly, striking with steel one moment and releasing bursts of energy the next. Her training had paid off. Every dodge was cleaner, every counterattack faster, every spell more controlled. Max, meanwhile, fought from within the upgraded ride pod with confidence and skill. The rollerblade feat allowed him to glide out of danger, turning what had once been a slow machine into a swift and unpredictable force. When enemies charged, he slipped aside and struck back with the drill arms, tearing through armor, claws, and stone-like hides. When monsters attacked from a distance, he answered with the Nova cannons, unleashing concentrated beams of energy that blasted them back before they could close in. Together, Max and Monica fought with the rhythm of partners who had learned from their mistakes. They covered one another's blind spots. They called out warnings. They advanced carefully, but without fear. The mines were still dangerous, but the monsters no longer controlled the pace of the journey. Hour after hour, they pushed deeper. They crossed broken bridges, cleared unstable passages, and battled their way through one level after another. The journey was exhausting, but not desperate. This time, every victory felt earned through preparation rather than luck. At last, after hours of relentless travel and combat, they reached the deepest heart of the Zelmite mines. There, their path came to an abrupt halt. A vast blockade of rubble filled the passage ahead. Massive stones had collapsed from the ceiling, sealing off the route completely. The debris was too heavy to move by hand, even with Monica's strength and Max's ride pod. Clearing it properly would have required an entire team of workers. For a moment, they stood in silence, staring at the obstruction. Then Max remembered the dynamite. During their previous journey through the mines, they had found a stash hidden inside a chest in one of the dead-end corridors. At the time, it had seemed useful enough to take with them. Now it might be the very thing that allowed them to continue. Max retrieved the dynamite and examined the rubble carefully. The rocks were dense, but not impossible to shift. A well-placed blast could bring enough of it down to open a path forward, provided they kept their distance and did not trigger a larger collapse. Monica watched him work, alert for any sign of danger. The mine was old, and explosives inside unstable tunnels were never without risk, but they had no other route. The Zelmite had to be close now. Max climbed down from the ride pod and approached the blockade. With careful precision, he positioned the dynamite atop the weakest section of rubble, making sure it was secure before setting the fuse. Then he backed away. His voice rang through the cavern. "Fire in the hole!" The shout echoed across the chamber, bouncing from wall to wall. Without hesitation, Max and Monica retreated to a safe distance. Monica grabbed his arm and pulled him behind a jutting wall of stone, while the ride pod stood nearby, ready to move the moment the path was clear. The fuse burned down. A tense silence followed. Then the dynamite exploded. The blast shook the chamber, sending dust, smoke, and shattered rock bursting through the passage. The force of it rumbled beneath their feet, and Monica braced herself against the wall as fragments scattered across the floor. For several seconds, neither of them moved. Then the echoes faded. Dust rolled through the air in thick clouds, slowly thinning to reveal what lay beyond. The rubble had been blown apart. A passage had opened. As the dynamite detonated, the blockade shattered apart in a thunderous burst of dust, stone, and smoke. The force of the explosion rolled through the chamber, shaking loose fragments from the ceiling and sending echoes racing down the tunnels behind them. Max and Monica stayed low, until the last of the debris settled. Then, slowly, they looked up. Beyond the broken rubble, the mine opened into a vast hidden chamber, and what awaited them stole the breath from their lungs. The walls were covered in Zelmite ore. Mint-coloured crystals bloomed across the stone in gleaming clusters, spreading over the chamber like frozen fire. Their glow was soft but powerful, bathing everything in a serene, ethereal light. Pale green radiance shimmered across Max's ride pod, caught along the edge of Monica's sword, and reflected in both their eyes as they stepped closer. After all the danger, all the battles, all the preparation, they had finally found it. The ore was not merely useful. It was beautiful. Rare veins of Zelmite pulsed faintly within the rock, as if the mine itself possessed a hidden heartbeat. The chamber felt untouched by time, a secret kept deep beneath palm brinks until the right moment. Max and Monica stood in awe, fully aware that this discovery could change everything for the town above. "Got it, right there," Max exclaimed in exhilaration, realizing they had finally located the sought-after prize they had been tirelessly searching for. Zelmite ore. This can be turned into fuel for the Blackstone rail trains. Buying. Monica stood beside him, her eyes wide as the glow washed across her face. After everything she had seen, castles, royal halls, ancient ruins, and distant lands, the sight still struck her with genuine wonder. "Wow, it's pretty," she marvelled, struck by the stunning and vibrant appearance of the Zelmite ore. For a moment, it felt as though the ordeal had been worth it. The danger, the exhaustion, the fear of losing Max, all of it had led them here. With this ore, the railway could be restored. Palm Brinks could expand beyond its walls. The people could begin building the future they had dreamed of. Then the chamber grew colder. A voice echoed through the cavern, low, rasping, and filled with possessive malice. "So, you think you can take my jewels, eh?" taunted the menacing voice in a raspy tone. "I'll not allow it." Max and Monica froze. The glow of the Zelmite seemed to dim beneath the weight of that voice. Monica's hand tightened around her sword, while Max shifted inside the ride pod, readying its weapons. A shadow moved above them. Then something enormous descended into the chamber. The figure landed before them with heavy, deliberate grace, stirring the dust around its feet. It resembled a genie from some ancient Arabian tale, but any sense of wonder it might have inspired was poisoned by the cruelty in its presence. It was majestic, yes, but monstrous too. Its skin was a vivid pink, strange and almost luminous beneath the Zelmite glow. Across its broad chest sat ornate armour of red and gold, polished and extravagant, designed as much to intimidate as to protect. At the centre of its belly gleamed a red jewel, embedded like a mocking symbol of wealth and power. Heavy red bracelets encircled its wrists, while gold rings glittered on its fingers, making every movement seem both regal and threatening. The creature wore loose purple surwall trousers, gathered neatly beneath a luxurious gold sash wrapped around its waist. Its pointed crimson shoes curled slightly at the tips, adding to its exotic, otherworldly appearance. Yet the elegance of its attire only made its more demonic features more unsettling. A single horn rose from the crown of its head. Its ears were long and pointed, each one pierced with 3 earrings that gleamed in the mint-green light. two sharp fangs jutted upwards from its mouth, giving its grin a cruel and predatory edge. Its eyes fixed on Max and Monica with a hunger that was far too intelligent to be dismissed as simple animal instinct. The being was both grand and grotesque, a fusion of mystical beauty and savage menace. Monica took a wary step back. What is it? Monica's voice trembled, betraying a hint of fear and uncertainty in the face of the daunting genie-like creature before them. Max kept his gaze locked on the creature, his expression steady, despite the danger now towering in front of them. "I guess this is that new boss that Flotsam was talking about," Max responded calmly, his tone echoing a mix of readiness and determination as they prepared to confront this formidable foe, ready to face the challenge head-on. Monica's eyes widened. "Huh? This thing?" she exclaimed, her disbelief evident in her reaction to the unexpected appearance of the formidable creature before them. The genie-like monster looked down at them, clearly amused. His voice boomed through the chamber, bouncing off the Zelmite-covered walls. "Eh? Friends of Flotsam, are we? He came to me asking me to make him strong, which I did. But how soon he has betrayed me. I guess he just didn't have what it takes," the genie remarked, his words laced with a sense of betrayal and disappointment. So Flotsam had not exaggerated. There truly had been someone behind his transformation. Someone powerful enough to rebuild him, strengthen him, and set him loose again. Monica felt a chill crawl along her spine. If this creature had created metal Flotsam, then it was no ordinary monster guarding the ore. The genie's gaze drifted over them slowly. Then he licked his lips. The gesture was grotesque, full of hunger and disturbing delight. "Oh, actually, you two don't look so bad. I'm quite hungry just now. I don't suppose you'd mind if I ate you?" he inquired with a chilling tone, his intentions ominously clear. Monica's revulsion sharpened instantly into defiance. She stepped forward, raising her sword between herself and the monster. The genie's grin widened, revealing those terrible fangs. "Sorry, I think I'll just eat you anyway," the genie growled, making clear his predatory intent. Without warning, he lunged. His enormous hands swept towards them, each movement fast enough to send wind rushing across the chamber. Max and Monica reacted at once. Monica sprang aside with a swift acrobatic leap, her boots skidding across loose crystal dust as she landed. Max drove the ride pod backwards, the rollerblade feet gliding sharply out of the genie's reach, just before those massive fingers could close around him. The creature's grasp struck empty air. Stone cracked beneath the force of his missed attack. Max steadied the ride pod, Nova cannons charging at his sides. Monica raised her sword, magic gathering faintly around her free hand. The Zelmite chamber glowed around them like a battlefield lit by stars. Their battle against the menacing genie had truly begun. Max and Monica moved at once, circling the genie from opposite sides before he could recover from his failed lunge. They had no time to hesitate. This creature was stronger than anything else they had faced in the mines. And if they allowed him to dictate the battle, they would be overwhelmed. Monica struck first. She raised one hand and released a concentrated burst of magic, the spell flashing across the Zelmite-lit chamber before slamming into the genie's face. The impact made him reel backwards, snarling as the light burst against his eyes. Max seized the opening. Inside the ride pod, he drove forward with the rollerblade feet gliding smoothly across the stone. The machine moved faster than its heavy frame suggested, closing the distance before the genie could regain his balance. Max lowered the drill arms and aimed them directly at the creature's feet. The drills struck hard. The genie roared as the attack tore into the ground beneath him and knocked his stance apart. His great body lurched, his arms flailing for balance, but the combined force of Monica's magic and Max's mechanical assault proved too much. With a thunderous crash, he stumbled and fell to one knee. For a moment, it seemed they had gained the advantage, but the genie did not surrender. Instead, his humiliation twisted into fury. His eyes burned with a deeper malice, and the chamber trembled beneath the force of his rage. He had been denied his meal, mocked by 2 children who refused to be devoured. And that insult seemed to wound him more than any blade or cannon. "Fine. If you wish to play hardball, I shall make your last moments a torment," the genie bellowed in a menacing tone, his fury palpable as he unleashed a menacing threat upon Max and Monica. With a sharp movement, he launched himself into the air, hovering above the chamber with his arms spread wide. Dark magic gathered around him, warping the glow of the Zelmite into sickly shadows. Then, with a guttural chant, he conjured miniature versions of himself. The smaller genies dropped from the air like living curses. They hit the ground one after another, snarling and snapping, each one bearing the same cruel grin and hungry eyes as their master. Though smaller, they moved quickly, scattering across the chamber as they closed in on Max and Monica from every direction. Monica assessed the danger instantly. If they tried to fight the main genie and the duplicates together, they would be surrounded. The smaller creatures would harry them, distract them, and create openings for the real genie to strike. They needed to divide the battle. "There's no way we can handle both the genie and his copies," Monica stated, her voice laced with determination as she outlined her strategy. "Max, focus on engaging the main genie with your ride pod. Draw his attention while I deal with his duplicates." Max did not argue. He trusted her judgment. The ride pod surged forward, drawing the main genie's gaze. Max fired a warning blast from the Nova cannons, forcing the creature to veer away from Monica and focus on him instead. Monica turned to face the swarm of duplicates. They rushed her at once. The first leapt towards her, fangs bared. Monica pivoted sharply and cut it down with a clean slash, her sword passing through its body in a burst of fading smoke. A second darted low, aiming for her legs. She vaulted over it, twisted in midair, and struck as she landed, destroying it with a single precise blow. More came. Monica moved through them with fierce control. Her training showed in every motion. She wasted no strength, no movement, no breath. Each strike landed exactly where it needed to. Each dodge carried her into a better position. When one duplicate tried to attack from behind, she caught its reflection in the polished surface of a Zelmite crystal and spun in time to destroy it. Another tried to overwhelm her from above, only for Monica to release a burst of magic that shattered it before it could reach her. One by one, the duplicates vanished into nothingness, and with each one destroyed, the main genie weakened. His movements became slower, his hovering faltered. The glow around his body dimmed, as though each copy had carried away a fragment of his strength. Max noticed. He acted quickly, shifting the ride pod's armaments at the right moment. The drill arms had served their purpose, but now he needed distance, precision, and power. With practiced hands, he switched to the upgraded Nova cannons, locking them into place as the ride pod glided across the chamber on its rollerblade feet. The Genie tried to keep the advantage by staying airborne, but the ride pod's improved mobility made Max far harder to pin down. He moved with sharp, fluid turns, closing the distance whenever the Genie drifted too low and pulling back whenever the creature prepared to strike. The Genie snarled and fired a deadly laser beam from his eyes. Max dodged at once. The ride pod slid sideways with smooth precision, the beam carving a burning line across the stone where he had been only a second before. Another blast followed, then another, but Max kept moving, the rollerblade feet, allowing him to weave through the attacks with surprising grace. Then he returned fire. The Nova cannons roared, releasing concentrated bursts of energy that slammed into the Genie's armor and forced him backwards through the air. Sparks erupted from the creature's gold and red chest plate. His roar echoed through the chamber, but there was panic beneath the anger now. The battle was turning. Monica destroyed the last of the duplicates with a clean upward strike. It dissolved into smoke and sparks, leaving the chamber suddenly clearer. The main Genie staggered mid-air. His strength was failing, but desperation made him dangerous. "No, I refuse to be defeated once more. This is not my end," he thundered, mustering a final burst of energy as he charged toward Max with unyielding determination. The Genie hurled himself forward, gathering every remaining trace of power into one final attack. The chamber shook as he descended, his enormous form bearing down on Max and the ride pod with murderous force. Max stood his ground. He locked both Nova cannons onto the target and channeled their full power into a single devastating dual barrage. The cannons fired. Twin beams of intensified energy tore through the chamber and struck the Genie directly in the face. The force of the blast stopped him in mid-charge, driving him backwards with a roar that turned from rage into disbelief. He crashed to the ground. For a moment, his body flickered, unstable and fading. The rich colours of his armour dulled. The jewel in his belly dimmed. His monstrous form began to break apart into pale smoke and fragments of light. Then he vanished completely. The remaining traces of his magic dissolved with him. Any surviving duplicates flickered once, then faded into the ether. The chamber fell into a deep, uneasy silence, broken only by the faint hum of the Zelmite crystals and the cooling whir of Max's ride pod. Max stared at the empty space where the creature had fallen. "He's gone," Max voiced, taken aback by the sudden disappearance of the Genie, the lingering presence of his unsettling presence dissipating into nothingness. Monica lowered her sword slowly, still trying to make sense of what they had just fought. The creature had not felt like an ordinary monster. He had spoken, plotted, bargained with Flotsam, and treated the Zelmite as though it belonged to him. What was it anyway? "I don't know," admitted Max, his curiosity mirroring Monica's confusion. However, a sense of purpose swiftly returned as he recollected their original objective. "But let's go and let the mayor know about this Zelmite deposit. With this, Blackstone Railroad should be able to really expand." Monica looked around the chamber once more. The Zelmite still glowed along the walls, beautiful and untouched, as though the battle had merely proven they were worthy of reaching it. After everything, the ruined tunnels, Flotsam, Max's near death, the days of preparation, and now the Genie guarding the ore, their mission in the mines had finally reached its end. A wave of relief settled over her. They had survived. Max had survived. And Palm Brinks now had what it needed to build a future beyond its walls. Okay, let's go back to town. Together, they turned away from the glowing chamber and began the journey back through the mines. Behind them, the Zelmite continued to shine in quiet splendor, promising change, movement, and opportunity for the people above. For Max and Monica, it was not only the end of a dangerous expedition,